Ladies and gentlemen, I read the comments, and I'm getting a lot of questions on War and Arms, so I decided it's no better idea than to ask the guy in charge. Ask ImOw himself. Recently, he actually watched the first War and Arms video, and he actually left a comment, and he actually told me on his Discord if I had any questions, his DMs were open. So I thought, hey, this is a good opportunity to not only ask the questions that I have, but the questions that all of you have. So without any further ado, I'm going to go over the questions that I asked him, that I handpicked from all your ideas and suggestions, and let's see what his responses are. So this is the list of questions that I asked Owen. I'm not going to read it out because I have faith that you can read, so I'll let you read it yourself. But this is what I picked from myself and all the people who suggested their questions. So let's start with the first question. This is what I asked, and this is what the response was. Our game style is going to be similar to what you're used to, Area F2, and we're going with a realistic style, one-tap headshots, body shots due to damage, and whatnot. Depending on armor, the character/operator using 1 to 3 armor and 1 to 3 speed stats. So that's really good to know, because when he said he was going with a futuristic idea, a lot of times futuristic games kind of tend to have toward like a bullet sponge type thing, where they have like futuristic armor or whatever, and they take a lot of shots. And so I was a little worried it was going to be a little more arcadey than I would like to, but it seems like, and all of his responses seem to point towards this, he really wants to make it as close to Rainbow Six Siege as possible without getting a lawsuit, which is great. That's amazing. Like, that's awesome. It's not going to be like that NetEase type thing people are worrying about when the rumors of NetEase acquiring F2, or at least partnering with it, that they're worried it's going to make it like a arcade high time to kill type thing. But no, he's going to avoid that, which is fantastic to know. One of the questions that he responded to was, I asked how many maps are planned. I didn't actually expect to get a response to this one, and many of them I didn't actually expect to get a response because they were either very specific or, just something that needs to have the game to be developed to answer. But he said that 2 maps are confirmed, 1 for alpha and then 1 for global. So there's going to be 2 maps in total by the time the game releases, which you might be thinking, well, that's not very cool, only 2 maps, at least Area F2 and 3. You have to understand, he is a very small development team, and so he's running on pretty minimal funds right now. So as the game gets more popular and more people are spending money on it, he'll use that money and then reinvest it back into the game to hire more developers, map designers, graphic designers, etc., to add more content as the game grows. So as you play the content actually grows. It's a great system, and it's definitely some encouragement to go and support the game once it drops. So I recommend you do that. Now, something I just forgot to mention, I didn't actually catch this until after. He said he can't answer this yet, but we're working on that. But we look to include a few sneaky new features not seen to mobile yet. I mean, that could be anything. And when I read that like just 30 seconds ago, I didn't even see that part. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even see that until I was recording this. That's pretty sick. That could mean a lot of things. My theory, and this is just a theory and by no means confirmed by anyone other than me, and it's not confirmed, just a theory, just deliberation. What if the scope system is realistic? You know, in like Escape from Tarkov, or even the new Modern Warfare game a little bit, the outside of your screen does not zoom in, but the inside of the scope does. It has like that realistic scope zoom. I wonder if we're going to look at something like that. It's never been done on mobile before, and it's something that I think would fit the realistic CQB style very well. But again, that's my theory, and by no means confirmed. So if that's not the case, then don't be surprised. That should be expected. So another thing you mentioned when he was talking about maps was, and this makes a lot of sense, I was kind of expecting an answer like this. He's going to spend a lot of time trying to balance maps, and that's understandable because I've mentioned this a lot of times before in my last video, but his idea of the game, he wants this to be a very esports heavy game like Valorant or CSGO or, well, Rainbow Six. So he's going to spend a lot of time on weapon balance, right? And map balance especially, like I just said, map balance. Kind of what I was expecting, so nothing really too new there, but that's something you could probably look forward to when you start playing the beta and alpha releases. That's, good map balance and good weapon balance. Speaking of weapon balance, I asked him about the attachments. I said, what's it going to be like? Is it going to be like what was planned for Strike Team Online, where I had that super in-depth weapon customization? Or going to be like Call of Duty weapon customization? Or is it going to be like even as in-depth as Tarkov? And he said he was going to keep it simple. Just a few attachments, and insights, and suppressors, and underbarrel, and etc. And from what I read, it sounds like it's going to be very similar to Rainbow Six, which again makes sense because that's so far what he's been trying to do, is just to copy Rainbow Six as close as possible without copyright issues. Something that I was really curious about, something that I've been asked many times, my most commonly asked question is, what's the spec requirements? And naturally, I didn't expect an answer on this. He did answer it. He said he can't really say this right now because they don't know. The game hasn't been fully developed yet, so they don't really know what they're going to see. But one thing that he did say is that the 1 gigabyte or less. So that's about the standard. It's 1 to 2 gigabytes is the standard with most mobile games. When he says or less, that's actually quite impressive. If he can manage to make it less than a gigabyte, that's pretty good. Most games now are getting closer to 3 or 4 gigabytes. If you download everything, at stock it's usually around 1 gigabyte, but then there's usually up to a gigabyte of extra, maps, DLCs, cosmetic, etc. So the fact that he plans to get under 1 gigabyte, or at the very most 1 gigabyte, is kind of impressive, and I'll see how that goes. And on that note, he says. There will be graphic settings, and the max graphics will be 120 FPS, which I've already talked about, so I'm not going to go into much detail over that. But guys, that's about it. That's what he's gone over. It's going to be a short one. I just wanted to show you the Q&A session I had. Hope your questions have been answered. As you've probably heard, we're going to take a short break after this, so probably more infrequent uploads, but thank you guys for sticking around after all that happened, and I'll see you next time I'm bothered to upload.